There's something uniquely chilling about a film that ends with 4 words, based on a true story. Because suddenly, the monsters aren't fictional, the horrors aren't imagined, and the nightmares didn't happen in some distant fantasy world. They happened to real people. Today, we're counting down 10 disturbing movies inspired by real events. Stories of serial killers, unsolved mysteries, unimaginable cruelty, and terrifying encounters that continue to haunt people to this day. And trust me, the number 1 movie on this list becomes even more disturbing when you learn what inspired it. Let's begin. 10. The Conjuring. Most horror movies ask you to suspend disbelief. The Conjuring does the opposite. It wants you to believe every creaking floorboard and every shadow hiding in the dark. The film follows paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren as they help a family terrorized by strange occurrences inside their farmhouse. Doors slam by themselves, objects move, and an unseen presence seems determined to make itself known. What makes the story so unsettling is that it was inspired by the real-life Perrin family, who claimed they experienced years of terrifying paranormal activity. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the family maintained their story for decades. And according to those involved, the movie only shows a fraction of what allegedly happened inside that house. So, sleep tight. 9. The Amityville Horror, 1979. Before there were haunted house movies, there was Amityville. In 1974, a young man murdered 6 members of his family while they slept inside a home in Amityville, New York. A year later, another family moved in and soon claimed they were experiencing terrifying paranormal events. Strange noises, unexplained cold spots, and a growing feeling that something evil occupied the house. The truth behind those claims remains heavily debated. But one thing isn't. The murders really happened, and that fact alone casts a long shadow over every frame of this film. Because regardless of what followed, the house already had blood in its history. 8. Zodiac. Imagine knowing a killer is out there. Imagine receiving letters from him, and imagine never catching him. That's exactly what happened in the Zodiac case. Throughout the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Zodiac killer terrorized Northern California. He taunted police with cryptic messages, sent coded letters to newspapers, and seemed to enjoy watching investigators fail to catch him. The movie focuses not only on the crimes, but on the obsession that followed. An obsession that consumed journalists, detectives, and ordinary people. And perhaps the most disturbing detail? To this day, the Zodiac killer has never been officially identified. Some mysteries don't stay buried. 7. Monster. Not every monster hides in the shadows. Some are created by tragedy. Monster tells the story of Eileen Wuornos, one of America's most infamous female serial killers. The film explores a life marked by abuse, neglect, and desperation. But while it examines the events that shaped her, it never ignores the horrifying crimes that followed. What makes the story so unsettling is how human it feels. There are no supernatural elements, no elaborate conspiracies, just a real person whose life spiraled into something horrifying. And that's often scarier than fiction. 6. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The opening of this movie tells viewers it was inspired by true events. And while Leatherface wasn't real, the man who inspired him absolutely was. His name was Ed Gein, a quiet man from Wisconsin whose crimes shocked America. When authorities searched his property, they discovered things so disturbing that they inspired multiple horror icons, including Leatherface, Norman Bates, and Buffalo Bill. The movie exaggerates and fictionalizes much of the story, but the real crimes behind its inspiration were horrifying enough sometimes. Reality creates monsters more terrifying than Hollywood ever could. 5. Hotel Mumbai. For many people, horror means ghosts. For others, it's the realization that evil can be frighteningly real. Hotel Mumbai recounts the devastating terrorist attacks that struck Mumbai in 2008. What begins as a normal evening quickly transforms into chaos. Guests become trapped, families become separated, and survival becomes the only thing that matters. The film's intensity comes from its realism. There are no supernatural villains, only ordinary people facing an extraordinary nightmare. And knowing it truly happened makes every moment hit even harder. Before we reveal the top 4 most disturbing true story movies on this list, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to Screen Decoded. If you're fascinated by shocking true stories, hidden movie details, and films that stay with you long after the credits roll, you're in the right place. Now, let's continue, because the next few entries become significantly darker. Number 4. Memories of Murder. In the 1980s, South Korea faced a terrifying mystery. Women were being murdered. The victims appeared connected, and police had no idea who was responsible. Memories of Murder follows investigators struggling to solve the case, while frustration and fear continue to grow. The film captures something deeply unsettling. Not just the crimes, but the helplessness. The feeling of knowing a predator is out there, while every lead goes nowhere. For years, the killer remained unidentified, which meant countless people had to live with the possibility that he was still among them. That uncertainty hangs over the entire movie, and it never lets go. Number 3. Schindler's List. Some stories are disturbing because they're frightening. Others are disturbing because they actually changed the course of history. Schindler's List tells the story of Oskar Schindler, a businessman who saved more than 1,000 Jewish lives during the Holocaust. The film doesn't rely on jump scares. It doesn't need to. The events themselves are horrifying enough. What makes the movie unforgettable is the contrast between unimaginable cruelty and extraordinary courage. Every scene reminds viewers that these weren't fictional characters. They were real people, and their suffering was real. The result is one of the most powerful and emotionally devastating films ever made. Number 2. Fire in the Sky. Most alien abduction stories are easy to dismiss. Then there's Travis Walton. In 1975, Walton disappeared after several coworkers claimed they witnessed a strange object in the sky. Days later, he reappeared and told a story that would become one of the most famous alleged alien abduction cases in history. Whether you believe him or not isn't the point. The point is that the case sparked decades of debate. The movie recreates parts of Walton's account with imagery so disturbing that many viewers still remember it years later. And the most unsettling question remains unanswered. What actually happened during those missing days? Number 1. The Girl Next Door. This movie sits at number 1 for a reason. Not because it's the bloodiest, not because it's the scariest, because it's the hardest to accept. The Girl Next Door was inspired by the real-life murder of Sylvia Likens, a case so disturbing that many people struggle to believe it actually happened. The film follows a young girl subjected to escalating abuse while the adults around her fail to intervene. What's truly horrifying isn't just the cruelty, it's the normality surrounding it. Neighbors, friends, bystanders, people who could have helped and didn't. Many viewers describe this movie as more difficult to watch than most horror films because there are no monsters here, no demons, no ghosts, only people. And sometimes, that's the most disturbing thing of all. Those were 10 disturbing movies inspired by events that actually happened. Some are mysteries that remain unsolved. Some reveal the darkest corners of human nature. And some become even more frightening the moment you discover the real story behind them. Which movie disturbed you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another episode of Screen Decoded. Because sometimes, the most terrifying stories aren't the ones writers create. They're the ones reality already wrote. See you in the next decode.